It's always about a tagline.
I was like, was it going?
I feel like there should be like faces.
Right. Hello.
Hello, cats and kittens. Thank you for watching our show, A Girl and Her Unicorn, where we're going to review weekly comic books. So today we're going to start right into it, and actually I'll let Ginny start. Ginny, just
goodness.
the girl, start. What is your first pick of the day?
My first pick was Catwoman, Tweety, and Sylvester.
I actually saw these on the counter, but I did not pick any of them up.
Okay.
I did not, but I love the Looney Tunes are always fun. Catwoman is always a good character.
And I guess they've done the Looney Tunes thing before, where they've, I guess, done these mashups before. This is the first one I've ever read.
I think last time they did not the Looney Tunes, but I think they did Hanna-Barbera.
Ah, okay.
It's a little bit different, but I'm not. I'd have to go back and actually relook at all my stuff.
Yes. Okay. So this was fun. I had no idea what I was getting into with this book because I've not read any of the Looney Tunes mashups, or I didn't read any of the Hanna-Barbera mashups. But it was cute. It was cute. So it starts out. We should always probably start out saying there will be spoilers. So pause if you have not read your books for the week. Come back, and then you can push play then. But anyway, so the book starts out with witches at a cauldron.
Always a good start.
Yes, talking about eating children. Sounds like fun. And so...
That's how I start my weekend.
Right, exactly. The one witch passed because, cholesterol. She actually says, pass the cholesterol. And so they go into where they've made a bet between one of the witches thinks that cats are better, specifically black cats. The other witches think that birds are better. So that's kind of where you get started, to where it's the witching hour. And so they basically go in and they have bewitched Catwoman and, as you will see later, Black Canary. I don't know, should we show the book? Should we just kind of pass the book here?
I don't know. Showing the book, I think they have their own book. I think they can.
So we can just have it down.
Yeah.
So Sylvester shows up with Catwoman. They have some really funny dialogue in here. There's actually one place in particular where Tweety tells Catwoman that you're a very bad lady. I bet you this is why you don't marry Batman, which is a play on we know what happened a few weeks ago with Batman. And so the entire book is basically, you've got Black Canary and you have Catwoman. They've been bewitched and she's trying to get the cat. Catwoman's trying to get the bird. And I mean, it's literally like, at first I was kind of like, what's going on? What are we doing here? And as they go along, they bring in other characters who are cat characters, like Wildcat, like Cheetah. I can't remember who some of the other ones were. Anyway, and then some bird characters come in, like Hawk Girl and Hawkman, to fight each other. So it actually gets very funny because a lot of the dialogue gets funny. Star Sapphire shows up, which I did not know she's a descendant of cats.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, so she shows up to help Catwoman. And I just thought that was fascinating. I'm like, I did not know this. Bronze Tiger, Catman, they all show up. So there ends up being this back and forth with them fighting. And then as you just go along, they decide, what are we doing? Why are we doing this to each other? And so they fight against the witches. And, but it has this cute, like there's the whole, oh, you're a bad putty tat and, suffering succotat, like all that kind of stuff plays in. So that's the first story. It's written by Gail Simone. And honestly, the best part, I think, was the dialogue once you got into it. Because at first, I was kind of like, what's going on with the story?
Well, it's kind of like, the whole premise in general is just a big wacky premise. So it's kind of hard to mash like a superhero book with some kind of Looney Tune book.
Yes.
Just because the dynamics are completely different. So it's kind of interesting to hear that you enjoyed it. That
I did. Like, in the end, I was like, okay, that was actually cute. Like, I enjoyed it. That was funny. Good job, guys. Yeah. The art was good. It was fun. At the back of the book, Shea Fontana wrote a story, which she does the DC Superhero Girls, which is really cute. And they did the old school Tweety and Sylvester, like Looney Tunes, and wrote a story that way where it's kind of the same premise of Catwoman is trying to steal some jewels. She gets Sylvester to help her so that she can get Tweety. And Tweety, of course, in the end, wins. So,
of course.
Yeah, of course. And it was just a really fun play, just a cute one shot. I enjoyed this one. I thought it was good.
So do you think it was worth the money?
I do think it was worth the money because it is $4.99.
Yeah.
But
may try to download it.
Yeah, it was cute. I think it was well worth the read.
Awesome. Really great.
How about yours?
So I was going through a lot of mine. I know I said, we talked earlier this week and talked about what we were going to do, and I kind of changed my mind after getting into my comic books and reading all of them last night. I really liked The Runaways. So I'm going to start with The Runaways. It is obviously an ongoing series. This is number 12. So there's a lot of history, obviously, with The Runaways, their original series they had, and then now they're starting this new series, which I really, really like. It's not a superhero book per se. There is they go on adventures and stuff, so it's not really the typical superhero where they have a villain and they gotta fight the bad guy. A lot of it is just teen angst and kind of growing up and their past that they're trying to overcome, which is really neat. I really enjoyed. The writer was Rainbow Rowell.
Sure.
Which I've really enjoyed the writing. Chris Unk, who is the artist. The art can kind of be a little cartoony for me sometimes, especially in the flashback was a little bit weird, but I really enjoyed it. So the premise of this book is Nico and I can't remember her name, the alien girl. By the way, if you ever watch any of these videos forever and ever, this will be my entire life, is me trying to remember everybody's name or everybody's thing, and I have just random names for them. Jenny's figuring this out. Due to comic book Dark Magic, which I still have no idea what.
Black Magic. It's Black Magic.
And it's spelled differently. Check it out. It's really good. So they've really enjoyed, or I've really enjoyed it because they had this little dynamic. Back in the old series, they had kissed at one point, and Nico was like, I'm just not into that. Not that I'm upset about it. I'm just not into that kind of dynamic.
Is this the same Nico that was in A-Force?
Yes.
Okay, I've read that series,
yes.
So I know who she is.
Yes, and then
so young.
Why can I not remember her name? Now see, now I gotta go back and read. So and this is where notes will come into play, I assume. Anyways, so she has been an out and out lesbian, and she was dating Julie Powers from Power Pack. Which I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I'm not familiar with
Old series in the 80s, 90s, and they are it's 4 kids, but she ends up dating one of them as they're older, and so they were kind of dating, but last couple issues they broke up. Some things have ensued. She's been really distracted, so Julie left, and Carolyn, that's her name. Carolyn.
Ha! Would never have come up with that name.
La la la! So excited!
Hey guys,
small things in life.
Carolyn.
So she's sad. Her parents were evil. As a matter of fact, all the kids in the Runaways, their parents were some kind of evil, and so they've overcome this. And hers were particularly aliens, and they had a foundation that they had made. And so when they came out as being evil villains, then a lot of their stuff went to pot, and so all of a sudden, this one foundation is the only thing that helps kids. Is the only thing that survived.
Okay.
So she has to go to this little gala, and she doesn't want to go by herself, and Julie's broken up with her, and it's the woe is me. And so Nico is trying to help her, and so she says, I'll go with you.
Okay.
Well, Chase, who is in charge of this whole bunker situation, he has actually made her a room so that she can come and stay with them, because they kind of have this thing where they don't stay with their families. They've kind of all been together. So she's made, there's
a dragon?
No, it is a raptor. It is a psychic raptor that is psychically bonded to Gert, who has come back from the dead.
Okay, this is my dream come true. I want a pet raptor.
I'm telling you, this is the book you need to read. I really think you would enjoy this.
Okay, I need to go back.
You need to read the original series first. The original series was really, really good. Brian K. Vaughan, I think, and I may be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was the writer, and the artist, I cannot think of their name, but the art was just
Brian
phenomenal.
K. Vaughan does Saga, right?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So I'm somewhat familiar with him, because I have started that one late to the game.
And it is really, really, really good. It's a really good book. So Carolyn and Nico go on their little adventure, and then they talk about Gert and Victor. Victor is a robot that used to have a body, but it doesn't anymore. Although that is really confusing to me, because apparently all the stuff that happened with his body happened in another comic book, which was didn't last very long. It was an AI book, so it had a bunch of the robot characters, like a Machine Man, Vision, It had him in there, and so Doombot was in there, and so they apparently lost his body.
So he comes into this one without a body.
Right.
Okay.
They find his head and they think he's dead, but then they realize later
so,
on.
Like, literally, he's floating around with a head.
Right now, he's floating on a drone.
That's
but
fantastic.
It kind of is because
I'm slightly creeped out, but we're fine.
They tried to build him a new body, but he was like, "No, I don't want a new body because I don't want to hurt people." So he's kind of got this "woe is me," like dark, like I don't want to kill people thing. So
lots
he
of
doesn't want a
Nirvana
body.
in this one.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is like this whole book is just like nothing but teen angst and like
It's like
all
my
this
so-called
turmoil.
life.
Exactly. But with cool heroes.
Where's Jordan?
And each of them they cover a genre. So Nico is more of the magic user. Jace is more of the he's the tech guy.
Okay.
His parents were kind of like tech people. Gert was a time traveler. Her parents were time travelers, and so that's where they got the raptor. They brought it back, or they got it from the future or the past. But anyways, that's her kind of. Her parents were time traveling villains. Victor was Ultron's son. So he's kind of got the robot character. Molly is a little tinier character. She's a younger girl, and she is a mutant. Her
Okay.
parents are mutants. So they kind of run the whole gambit. And then Caroline's was, aliens. And so in the original series, they all had like their little niche, a genre that they had that they did. The parents did, and so they brought so their kids kind of adopted those things. And that's where like. When Victor comes in, he finds Gert inside the time machine that her parents used to have, and she's like, I haven't been able to use it. It's not, she's kind of disappointed. She just went through this huge makeover last issue, which I'm like crushing over the arc. She's like, she's not a tiny, typical tiny, and I really love that. I love when they make like characters natural, like not every one of them is going to be skinny,
Right.
And so Gert's kind of a more voluptuous person. And she's smart, and so her and Victor make the time machine work because she wants to go see the butterflies because this is like the thing that she was really into, and he's trying to cheer her up.
Got it.
So Nico and Caroline go to the gala.
I know, it's like
so cute.
My inner goth girl is like digging this.
It is, and it's like it's weird because it's so colorful, but it's not. There's a lot of darkness into it.
If I could get away with that at work, that'd be my look.
I know, like I love the little lace, and little details, just
green,
really, really great.
Yes.
So Gert and Victor are bonding, and Nico and Caroline are bonding, and it just kind of like they all kind of kiss at the end.
Aww.
And then there's the big reveal, which spoiler by the way, a big reveal. It looks like Nico's old boyfriend, who was a real bad guy in the original series, Alex, might be back from the dead.
Oh,
so
from the dead.
Yeah, but I'm not for sure if this is supposed to be Alex or if this is supposed to be somebody else. So it just we will have to find out when issue 13 comes out.
Teenage love triangle coming at you soon.
Really good.
I like this cover. This cover's really nice.
I know they just
like the
they
colors.
just did really this book is just really amazing, and it's fun. It's not super duper heavy. It's not super duper like weighed down. Although I do feel if you have the original series, this series makes a little more sense, especially with the dynamics that everybody's got.
So I am gonna have to start.
You don't have to, but I think you would enjoy it more if you were original Runaway. And if you were original Runaway series, I definitely think this one would be a little bit different, just because it's not a. In the original series, there's a little bit more actiony. They were trying to escape their parents. They were trying to find their place in the world. In this one, they're kind of growing up and trying to find their place in like their life instead of just being like a team. They're kind of just dealing with almost being a family in their own right.
Okay.
Especially the first couple of issues were kind of neat. They kind of built on that family dynamic. So it was really
it's a stick.
It was really enjoyable. It's a staff of one. Which that's, who doesn't want a staff of one?
Right.
Maybe staff of two depending on your night and how much drinks you've had. But lots of alcohol.
I think the art reminds me of the Wildstorm, where it was like you don't like. I didn't love Wildstorm's art at first, but then as you got into the story, you
really
kind of adapted to it, and you're like,
mm-hmm.
oh no, this art actually works, and I enjoy it.
Yes.
Is that kind of how this is?
Yes. Like I don't know why she changes her art, or I don't know why they changed the art at the beginning. It's kind of a flashback, so I think they try to make it a little bit more of a different, to kind of give it a different feel.
So that you knew it was a flashback, maybe.
I'm guessing that's what they were going for, which was okay. But then the regular art and the way they've done them is really, really beautiful. I feel like it's definitely it's almost like they try to make them like kids and then flashback, you know, they try to make them young and kids and kind of weird. And then they're almost softer and a little bit darker in some of the panels. So I really enjoyed it. I'm not disappointed in it yet. Like I said,
issue 12. That's pretty good.
yeah, issue 12, but it is a different book than the original.
Okay. Just
but
different vibe overall.
Yeah, a different vibe, just because it's not a lot less actiony, a lot less turmoil as far as like saving your life, and more turmoils and like teen angsty stuff. So.
Is it following the TV show at all? Because I know they started a TV show, right? That's like
yes.
on Hulu or something
so
like that.
The original series follows the TV show a little bit more, but definitely the TV show has taken a lot of liberties. Either because they think it's going to work better, or it's for some reason that they think it's going to play to the TV
like audience.
Or right.
Something.
Or like you have to cut things out and kind of make this a little more understandable. You don't have like 12 issues to figure this out.
Right. So this isn't really following that per se then.
No.
And this came out before
this one
the show,
definitely
right?
not. This new series definitely is not following the show at all.
Cool. Okay.
So this would be like if you took the show and they did like a 12 years later show.
Okay.
Then that's what this would be.
Okay.
So yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I am gonna check this out.
Check out the original series.
Yes, I
will. If you really like that, then
we'll DL
then
it.
we will start here, and then I'm sure you have plenty of stuff to go around. So it doesn't matter. So what was your next pick?
Doesn't matter. Let's see. What's the next one I want to talk about? I guess I'll go ahead and throw this one in there. I picked up Scarlet by Brian Michael Bendis. This is his Jinx World label, which is still coming through DC. DC has taken it on, and Jinx World, I guess he started years ago, was his comic creator owned label that he started with a few friends. So this is before he even got big with Marvel or any of that type of thing. So
I read the premise a little bit after you talked about it, or texted me the other night, and so I read the premise a little bit, and honestly, I'm not that interested. It didn't sound like I would be like, I would pick it up if I didn't have to. But you brought it up, so now I'm interested to see what you think.
I picked it up because I don't dislike Bendis. The only other thing I've read of his was his Defenders run that came to an end when he left Marvel and came to DC. I really enjoyed that run. I thought it was very good. I knew nothing about the Defenders, and so I could just kind of come in, clean slate. I wasn't excited about this book to begin with, but it was one of those things where I felt like I needed to check it out because it was something new, and it's like Bendis' new Jinx World thing. Okay.
Tuck in, honey. This is we're going for a ride.
Okay. All right, look. I didn't dislike it, but I think part of it is it's not going to be my thing. I think a little bit. So the premise is that, from what I could quickly gather, is that her and her boyfriend, I guess a corrupt detective, was chasing them and shot her boyfriend, killed her boyfriend, put her into a coma, and so very quick, they're in Portland, and so now it's almost like apocalyptic in a way, but not, whereas they've cut the bridge off, and so now there's this group of revolutionists who are basically bucking the system and are not happy about what's happened, are now trapped on the other side. They've cut the power, so why are you doing this? I'm just okay, and people are dying, and it just
So I always think that first issues are such a hard sell, because first issues you have to establish a world, you have to establish your characters, you have to establish your premise, you have to establish where you're going with. So sometimes first issues are a little hard.
Yes.
Do you feel like it's at first because it's a first issue, or do you feel like there might be something that might be able to keep going?
Okay. The art is okay. It's Alex Maleev, which it's nice, and it actually, I do feel like the art fits the gritty feel that Bendis is going for the story. I kind of don't even know what to review on it really, because I know it was a previous series, so for people that were familiar with the previous series, it probably won't be as hard of a sell as for people who are coming into it. But then also, if you're very politically charged, you might enjoy this, because it's a very much finger to the man kind of a thing.
But then again, you might not if that's not your.
Yeah, but if
really
that's
hard,
not your thing, I don't think. Yes, her look is very cool. Very cool. I had to put the book in there because it was something that I felt was very different for me. But I kind of don't know what to say about it, because I didn't not enjoy it, but I didn't really enjoy it. It kind of has a little bit, okay, like Terminator. If you're a fan of Terminator and you like the whole, what's the lead guy from Terminator? Because I just went blank.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The main character.
The main character, yeah, who like they're trying to go back in time,
John Connor.
John Connor, thank you. She's very John Connor.
Lots of aha moments.
Yes, she is very John Connor. Like that's what this is.
Okay.
Is like, so think about like the people that are on the other side of the bridge as being like the Terminators, and she's John Connor with her little band of revoltists. And so that is actually what this book felt a lot like. And so it basically ends where like they're sending drones over. I mean, the end of the book is they sent a special forces guy over and says the White House wants to talk to you.
Oh.
And I'm like, whatever.
I'm not picking up.
No, I just...
President may be on the phone, but I'm not picking up. So will you get the next issue, though? I think that's an important thing.
Maybe, because it's like, okay, like I feel like you said, first issue sometimes is a hard sell. So can you get everything that you want to get out of it in the first issue? Sometimes no. I will probably pick up the second issue, but it will have to really like hook me for me to want to keep going. Because I'm not saying that it's a bad book. I just don't necessarily know that it's something that I am looking for in my comics. Yeah. There was something cool at the end of this issue, though, if you are a fan of art, is that this particular artist had a bunch of his covers that he did for Batman in the past that they kind of used as just kind of creative flow type stuff, and they are really cool. Like, he is a very, very good artist. So if you are interested in art, you might check out the back of the book. So, I don't know. I kind of didn't know what to say about it. Even when I was reading through it, thinking about how I would review it, I wasn't really sure what to say. Just, yes, I don't know.
If you have some extra money, give it a chance.
Yeah.
It might be your thing.
Yes.
Or if you're a fan of the old series.
Exactly. You
Otherwise,
might check it out.
maybe try to find something else that you might enjoy.
Yes.
Spend your $4.99 on, or $3.99.
Yes. The Jinx World stuff just hasn't been my vibe, but that's, I mean, different artists, different writers for different types of people. Like, I have read some stuff of Bendis, like I said, that I really liked. Pearl was another one that I just didn't really get into. I didn't dig it. But
You're
that's
not
okay.
the only one. Unfortunately,
Yes,
I feel like this is the consensus. I feel like there's a lot of people that have said this Pearl thing is not as exciting as everybody wanted it to be.
It was very confusing. The art was very confusing with the story.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe in part 2 or issue 2 they can kind of fix that, but...
No, doesn't.
I'm sorry. I feel like from a review standpoint, I really sucked at this review because I'm like,
Actually, I think that is a good review, though, because I feel like if you've read it and you just can't get on board, it's very hard to, it is very hard to sell. So this may be a lot of times comics is a hard part about, it's just like books or movies. Not there's different flavors for everybody else.
Yeah,
It's
which
just
is
like ice cream.
love.
Napoleon comes with 3 flavors because not everybody wants vanilla, not everybody wants chocolate or strawberry.
Yes, but sometimes they want them all at the same time.
Right, exactly. So that may not be your thing, which is fine.
And that's why I don't want to say that it's a bad book.
Right.
Because it's not necessarily that it's a bad book. I mean, the way he wrote it was it was fine. It's just...
And the art seemed nice. So,
the art was nice, and I do feel like this one, as opposed to Pearl, where I felt like the art made the story more confusing, I do feel like in this particular book, the art really lends itself to the writing.
Awesome.
So they did a good job with that. He's a very, very, very good artist. But I just don't know that I like
Speaking of good art, let's go on to the next one. So my next one I'm going to do is Lady Mechanica.
Which that I have a soft spot for this book.
I do. So don't beat me up after I give my review.
It's okay.
So it's number 2, but it's not number 2 in the Lady Mechanica series. It's like, this is the 4th one, 5th one?
I think it's the
4th or 5th somewhere in there. But it's the La Belle Dame Sans Merci.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I love his titles.
I do too. They're always very elaborate and fancy.
And they're and they kind of they add to the story, but then they don't. I'm just sometimes I'm just call it something else.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But
He's
I still think it's kind of
titles.
And we apparently both got 2 different covers.
Yes.
Which, I mean, the covers on these are almost worth the price of admission.
Yes.
I really, really enjoyed the art on this book. Is so...
It's just beautiful.
It really is, but it's different. It's just very sweeping and it's just glorious. But sometimes I feel like I get a little confused with the art because I can't tell what a leg is or a foot is, and so sometimes I have to really pay attention.
Digging her look, though.
I know, the Reaper. Okay, so the way Lady Mechanica works is not like, it is not a typical ongoing series, but it is an ongoing series. Joe Benitez, he does almost minis.
Yes.
Usually they're about 4 issues.
Yep.
Each mini is about 4 issues. And they carry on the same character, or several characters. He's introduced a couple characters in there, but they don't necessarily continue the story from the last previous.
Right.
So I feel like he wraps them up in 4 issues. He's done with that world, and he moves on to something else. And the one thing I have been annoyed with the book that I actually kind of got a little bit more into this one was, I feel like he is very much he doesn't add enough to carry me on to the next book.
Origin story wise.
Yeah, origin, like I feel like they keep hinting at this origin story,
Yes.
and like they haven't done anything with it, and it's kind of what I've been itching for. You're on like your 4th or 5th miniseries. It's time to let us have something.
And it felt like we were going to get more of her origin
especially
in
in
this
the
one.
first. Yes.
Yes. This
But
one
this
I was
one-
like.
It almost rewinds itself.
Yes. Yes.
And now they're going a completely different direction. I think they're going to go with the her best friend.
Yes.
She's going to fight.
Lewis.
Yeah. She's going to fight with Lewis's wife or whatever she may be.
Fiance.
Fiance.
I'm a little concerned about his fiance.
She's a little crazy. She's a little crazy. But this Reaper lady, I'm digging this character.
Yes.
Like, she is really amazing. If you ever pick up the book, even if you just pick up the book for the art, it's worth every penny.
Yes, the art is well.
The red hair is just amazing. The skull mask is really cool.
With
She's
the
got
steampunk.
yes,
like-
the steampunk, and like I love that they found that that somebody's got her goat and kind
Yes.
of like trapped her a little bit. So this is where the art kind of lends itself to being a little chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times with those lines and stuff like that, I can't tell where the foots are and where the like how she's.
Where are you?
Yeah, and like so I had to read it a couple times to kind of go through it. So that would be my only really big critique. But I really enjoyed the story. Was kind of neat that I thought it was going one way because they trapped her, and then now they're taking her back to this mysterious benefactor who she thinks is Blackpool, but
Yes.
not necessarily might not be Blackpool because he has his own people. And instead
Yes.
of like, so this may be something completely different, but it kind of gave her a little bit of a villain to fight, which I thought was kind of fun. I really liked the villain, and she
that's
kind of
something
got
that he
beat up.
does in all of his series is that you have, like Alan was saying earlier, you have some of the characters that were established in his very first series that have carried on, like Lewis, like Blackpool, and there's a little girl who is like a niece of the
niece to
doctor.
Lewis,
So these
Yeah.
characters are the same, but in each of the books there's like
the detective.
yeah,
yes.
like there's new there he is introducing new people, he is introducing like new storylines, but there are a few things, and her origin story is kind of like an overlapping story that has continued through all of them.
And it's a lot of times it's new people that you said like they carry on through the books. Like
Yeah.
Lewis has been in I think almost all of them, or at least
Mhm.
once or twice. He's been in each series, and he's kind of her inventor friend that she kind of relies on and is a sidekick
Kind of like
somewhat.
her best friend, right? Like I
Right.
would say probably her closest.
Which I kind of like that he kind of got into her because
he was angry in this
I know.
issue.
I mean, I'm foreshadowing. I'm like, I feel
Uh-huh.
like I know where this is going.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, the fiance is spoilers again, making him sick. She's magically making him sick and like giving him the whimsy in it and inspiring him, but in turn he is dying or at least fading. Getting in some kind of infection or something from all the things that she's doing to him. But it makes him finally turn on her, which honestly, like, from a reality wise, like I really think him yelling at her, is like, I'm not your psychic. I didn't ask you to do these things. Why are you like, why do you think you can just control me? I was kind of like, it's about time.
Yeah.
She does always, she just like shows up and kind of treats him like, not like dirt, but kind of like dirt.
Well,
or she's
and
just like,
he's-
meh.
He's kind of established that a little bit
Yeah.
too, because he did lose his wife and child in an explosion that he kind of had a hand in. It was like his invention, and so he's been a bit of a belligerent drunk this whole time, and so
Yeah, throughout the series,
Yeah,
she
throughout the
finds him in some kind
series.
of pub, and he sobers up for the adventure, and then
yeah.
and he gets
But
back
then,
to it.
I mean, she like the beginning of this issue, she's had to, not this issue, but this series. She's had to go pick him up off the street or pick him up from the pub because he, the owner of the establishment has called and said, "Please come get your friend before I have to call the police." So
he kind of turns on her.
yeah, so there's just back and forth a little
Yeah,
bit.
she kind of leaves. The fiance's really excited about this because she doesn't have to she's kind of, I feel like it was her way of kind of getting rid of her so that she doesn't know what's going on. She entices him to do more of his inventions, and then Lady Mechanica goes on her own little venture again. So she goes back to the detective, which
she tried doing it the clean way, and now she's like, never mind.
I know, and she just needs to hook up with him and just be done with this.
Because he's fancy.
I know.
I kind of like him.
I know.
He's handsome.
They definitely need to. They need to hook up and be done with that so they can get that tension away. The other thing that I thought was, and it was mostly towards the middle of the book, the fight with Lewis and then the explanation with the detective. I feel like they do go into a lot of exposition, a lot of word bubbles.
A lot of word bubbles.
Which is really
wall of words.
Yes, it was a wall of words.
A little bit of wall of words.
Yeah, and so I was a little bit turned off by that, but I was just like, just keep plugging, just keep going, because it's going to be worth it. And it was, we get another great costume.
I was about to say, her outfits, like...
And I love her, like her eyes. Her eyes are always red, and it's from whatever the Blackpool or somebody did to her.
Yes, whoever the origin person is.
Whoever the origin person is made her into these. She's got mechanical arms. She's got mechanical legs. So she's kind of a little bit stronger than everybody. She kind
her
of has
vision
weird,
is crazy. Yeah.
So she's got all these kind of little special abilities from all these mechanical parts, but she doesn't know why. She has no memory of any of that. So then the niece comes and gets her and is like, my uncle's sick. And she goes and helps or tries to help him. The doctor's confused. He doesn't know what's going on. And then the fiance of Lewis shows back up and takes him away, spirits him away, and the little girl...
Kind of neck wings her.
I know.
But a bamf there.
Yeah, it's like... it's like, and we're gone.
Yes. We don't know where he's gone.
With the outfit she's wearing, apparently Vegas. That's where they're going.
Yes, the very fairy.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, to Never Never Land.
Yes.
Maybe the new Peter Pan.
Like a steampunk tink.
And that was one thing that I really liked about, again, the art. It's not just Joe Benitez. He has actually a house. Martin Montiel, he helps. They kind of share the art. But I thought was really neat about Lewis, usually in the other books, he's very skinny. But in this one, they actually make him really skeletal and kind of gaunt, which I thought was like, lends itself to the, that and she's kind of
pinched.
Right.
Like he's always very jovial and like open face and smiley. And I mean, he's kind of the silly character, but in this one, I agree. He was gaunt.
They definitely did a really good job of kind of portraying that. And then when he gets sick, and she takes him away, and then the book ends with the fairy taking him away, or the fiance taking him away, which we haven't established she's a fairy yet. I'm just going on a limb and say she's
wings,
a fairy.
looks like wings.
Wings, yeah.
The art.
Wings and eyes are white and magical stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Hair very flowing.
Poofy things and glitter.
Yes.
Which is how I live my life on a regular basis.
Yes, it's true.
And then the little niece sits there and she stops and she comes in and he's gone and yells for Lady Mechanica in the end.
Yes.
So we have to wait till next week or next month or whenever Joe
whenever
he gets out with another one. So this series, I really like, and the one thing I do like about it is that you can pick up any miniseries
and just
start out. You definitely get more out of the world by going back at the beginning.
To the original, even if you did just the original series and then jumped around. You could
get the establishment and then go from there. But I think each series lends itself to its own story and kind of tells, as much as I want the origin to be done or go into it, you still really don't need it because it's still just a good book and a good story, really fun art. I definitely think sometimes it can be a little straightforward. There's not really twists and turns that you don't foresee coming. A lot of times you can kind of see. It is somewhat predictable.
But it's so beautiful.
It is, and it's so worth it. I love it.
Even though...
But it is, it's just not, I love the book, and I picked up I went back and got all the...
singles?
Not the singles, but I went and got some of the trades, because I think the singles are really, really hard to find.
They are. They're very, very collected.
Once I picked it up, I started, I picked up it every week, and I would still continue, and I'll still continue to get it. But it is not the most intricate storyline in the world.
No, it's kind of okay because of that. This was one of the very first books that I came across, and it is one that I love because, yes, while the story isn't super deep, it's fun though. You do get caught up in the story.
It's girl power.
Yes, and her it's that whole steampunk.
Definitely me and Jenny will be on board with anybody with girl power and pretty art.
Yes.
We're definitely, that is the way to our heart. It may be
We're like,
a
we're
weird
there.
story. I'm like, I'm on it.
Because I'm pretty sure I've said that at one point. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even care as long as he continues to draw this way. I'm there for it.
Which
Like,
actually says a little bit about Scarlet. Unfortunately, it's
Yes.
girl power and the art is semi decent, and it really didn't catch her. So
Yeah.
it's kind of bad.
I'm
That's
sorry.
not-
I'm sorry, Bendis. I'm sorry. But
they can't all be hits.
oh, and something else to point out with this: if you do pick up this story, try and find the free comic book day from this year, from 2018, beginning of the early whatever the free comic book day was. It May, I believe, it was
Yes,
in May.
usually May.
It's like a little bit of a prequel story to this story. So I would definitely. It's not a have to, but if you have it, it's a good sister to this.
Yes, that was a good one.
So I definitely recommend that. Okay, so my third book.
Okay, third book.
I want you to kind of dig into this one with me because
Yes, I did read it.
Good,
Also.
yay! As I have pointed out, I am very, very new to the comic world, and my history of X-Men is from the 90s, the very awesome 90s X-Men cartoon. And so a lot has happened between said 90s cartoon and this series.
Smidge.
I mean,
Fortunately, she has me, and I
yes.
I have been around for many, many years.
Yes, so he's like my walking X-Men Wikipedia, and it's fantastic.
Fortunately,
so
I'm horrible at the numbers, the comic book numbers, and some of the names, but I can describe people pretty well.
Yes,
in order to figure
thus
it
far
out.
it has been fine in that regard, but I kind of want, even though this is like, okay, I picked this book, but I kind of want you to delve into this one because so I don't really know what's going on some of the time. I'm like, who are these people? So, this has been good. This is the second issue in the series. First issue was really good. I was a little lost, but with just a little bit of help from my unicorn here, I was able to muddle through. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first issue quite a bit.
So first, I want to go off into is it Pepe Larraz?
I believe that's how you say his name. Yes.
If I'm butchering names, I apologize.
Yeah, sorry in advance.
But I would love to get it right because I love this man. I love this person. Whoever this may be, I really want to be this person because his art is
It's really
phenomenal.
It's
Like
really
it
good.
is so. It's such a weird combination of a cartoony / realistic.
Yes.
And his hair is just amazing. Like everybody's hairstyle looks so on point. Like so trendy and so right on.
And their uniforms are just cool.
I know, and
like the
I
uniforms.
followed him. I really liked him when he did Avengers for a while. I think he did Uncanny Avengers for a while, and that was when I first got introduced to him. Man, I just love this person. I would love to meet them and have a sketch by him at some point in time.
And the writer is Ed Brisson. And I've
Brisson.
enjoyed his writing so
Yeah.
far. I don't know that I've read anything else by him yet.
Not that I'm aware of, nothing that
But-
jumps out at me, but I'm horrible with writers. I'm way better with artists, unfortunately. I'm one of those people that will stick with a book for art, and the story can be crap. and
Okay.
I'll still go on.
He will say that, but he's also just the person who's like completely loyal and will just stick with a book because he started reading it.
If I start at issue 1, there's a good chance I'll probably get to the issue 20 before I just give up.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Completionist, whatever you want to call it, loyalist, I don't.
I say completionist. You say obsessive.
I
It's all a
say
little bit
stop.
different. So with this book, I think they are dealing with a lot of stuff from current and they brought in the original X-Men several years ago. Beast brought them back from time, brought him in to help with Cyclops when Cyclops was being evil. And so he
Which was new to me. I was like, Cyclops was evil?
Yes.
What?
But it was like evil-ish. And a lot of it got really confusing because the whole premise was Cyclops kind of turned into this evil, almost like a Magneto character.
Okay.
Where he was like, I'm going to save the mutants and screw the humans, destroy everybody, just whatever I have to do to save the mutants. So he kind of turned this Xavier idea on its head a little bit and wasn't really into it. And then come to find out later on, it wasn't even him. He had died, again, really big spoilers, he had died by the Mpox, and it was Emma Frost that was continuing on his legacy by putting all his image psychically in everybody's mind.
She's kind of evil, right?
Well, I mean, it's so hard. Like, it's just like, yeah, she's kind of evil. And she's not the best thing in the world, but she's not.
She has
like,
a good heart, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's in between the voluptuous boobs. There's a
Yes,
good heart in
yes,
there.
there's-
But she's just like, I don't know.
Hellfire Club, that's the Emma
Yes.
Frost thing, right? Okay.
That's the bad, and like, but she does it like, it's one of those anti-heroes, but not like.
When I like those, let me just say that like I tend to like the villains, I tend to like the anti-hero characters. Sue me.
It's just so hard, like, because I love Emma Frost, but it's just, she does bad things. I feel like she's like Jessica Rabbit of the X-Men, like, you know, like, I'm not really evil, I'm just drawn this way. But she's just like,
Yes.
I don't know, like she's bad, but she's not. I don't want her to be bad, but she is.
We love to love her.
I know.
Yes.
I'm so disappointed. So anyways, so back to this book. So they
Back to extermination.
The Beast brings them back, and so now they've had these several years where they had their own book, which was I think they were in X-Men Blue for a while. They've been in some other books, and then they kind of they've done a lot with these characters because they're the younger versions. Which honestly, I thought at first I was really kind of I was like, oh, they're running out of ideas. This is just stupid.
With X-Men Blue and Gold, those books?
No, just with the bringing back the original X-Men.
Okay.
I just was like, oh, I'm so disappointed. Like this is where we're at. We're having a this is the way we're refreshing. It was almost like they were trying to reboot the character, reboot the series without rebooting it, which it was a good try, but it was I was a little disappointed. But I have to say, like I've been definitely bamboozled by them because they've actually really did a really great job with each of the characters.
Okay.
I've enjoyed like watching them. Like it's been fun seeing them into seeing themselves, which is kind of interesting, and growing into the same people but not like Jean is not like gonna be Jean. The regular Jean Grey that we know now from X-Men Red. She's kind of changed a little bit and she's different. And so it's just interesting to see that they're the same people but they're not.
And they're here at the same time, so we're not worried about like butterfly effect or anything, right?
Right, and they kind of like put a Band-Aid on that. They're like, here, this is the Band-Aid that we're gonna put on this just so we can keep them in this world.
Okay.
And so I think that was another problem I had a little hard time with. I was like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
It's like, here's the Band-Aid, and here's what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna say about time travel. I was like, lame. So like kind of goes
time travel's always a little weird.
But I've really enjoyed it. And so now I feel like this book is, and I think that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to turn this into the patch. This is what they're gonna do, this is how they're gonna fix it. They're either going to fix it completely, where they're going to take it into a completely different new direction, or they're going to send them back and restart everything. So I'm not for sure what they're going to do, but I think that's kind of what they're trying to, that's the premise of the whole thing, is they're trying to figure out what to do with these time travel, time displaced X-Men, which is the original 5, which is the Beast, Marvel Girl, Cyclops, Angel, and Iceman.
Okay.
Original 5 X-Men ever, and so I think they're trying to either send them back or finally put them in a place in the Marvel universe and put them in here.
Because this is not going to be an ongoing book, right? This is kind of like leading.
I think this is a mini-series, from what I understand.
That's gonna like kick off. Did you say it was kicking off something, or?
I think it's just their way of dealing with the.
So this is just okay.
Their way of dealing with this time travel thing.
Yes,
so because it's kind of getting a little confusing. It's like if they die, does the real Jean die? If they, if this person dies, they kind of touch on that in this one. So it kind of starts off with this Calvin Rankin guy getting tasered, which I'm not quite sure. That doesn't ring a bell without googling it. I don't know who this person is.
Okay, I was gonna ask you. I'm like, I don't know who Calvin Rankin is.
I'm not for sure myself. I'm speculating that it's probably something that's going to have to help them send them back in time. But I may be wrong. It may be a past X-Men or a past person that I don't remember. Total possibility.
GTS that.
We've already established that I'm horrible with names. So, but I'll let you continue this since this is your review. I'll just add in. I'll jump in.
Okay, cool. So Cable is taken out. Calvin Rankin. He has
young Cable.
Yeah, young Cable, because
From
spoiler. In the last issue, yes. This time travel business, I'm just like, I don't even know what's happening right now.
Don't worry, I've got this.
Yeah, exactly. Unicorn, step in. So it shows up that young Cable kills old Cable in the last issue. Okay, so hi. So he has now taken out this Calvin Rankin person with these darts that is electrocuting them, it seems, or there's a toxin.
It's like their taser poison / knock you out kind of stuff.
So after that happens, you come in, you're at the Xavier Institute, and in New York, Jean comes out to console Cyclops because he's very upset over Bloodstorm, who I have no clue who that was.
Again, another alternate world,
Storm.
different timeline.
Yes.
They collected, and this is where like the X-Men Blue came in. So X-Men Blue, they collected her.
I did not read any of that.
So at one point, the X-Men went through this timescape, and they went through most of the Marvel universe. So they went through like alternate worlds, and they went to X-Men 2099 and all that kind of stuff. So it was, and they collected a couple people.
I will say that it does sound like you need to have read all these other things I was still fine.
Yeah.
Like, you have Google, so it's not the end of the world. Or, in my case, I'm very lucky, I have a unicorn to help me with some of this. So, it's still a fun read.
Maybe like Oogle or something like that.
Yeah,
Unicorn Google.
Oh, I like it. That's what I'm gonna call you.
Oogle?
Yeah, Google. You're just Google from now on.
Oogle, who is?
Yes. And so for me, it's a little weird that like Cyclops and Jean aren't together. And I know a lot of things have happened over the course of X-Men, but you know, for me, like I said, my starting point was still the show. So to me, they're still together. They're not.
Well, see, and that's why I think this is their way of kind of dealing with this, because it is different, but not, you know, Jean and Cyclops have always been together for a long period of time, and so now they're not. And even in the original, when they brought them back, that was one big thing that was kind of weird, because she was kind of into Beast for a little bit, and they kind of had a little not a relationship, but Beast kind of confessed his love for her, and she was kind of like,
Oh, poor
and
Beast.
Cyclops, Cyclops was like, I love you too, and she was like, me. She was like, she was just,
She's a heart.
Yeah, she was vagina monologue. She
Yes,
wasn't going
exactly.
anywhere. She
Like,
was
I'm
by
like-
herself.
She was holding the fort, and there are so many different Jeans. But I did think this was a little bit of a sweet, where she's like, no, because he's like, I just want to be left alone. She's like, but you don't need to be left alone. You don't need to talk, but I will be here. So it was this was a good. These were some nice
And again, like,
storytelling aspects.
The art, their body language, and their posturing is just so good.
It's really good.
It really is.
And I like how he doesn't cut corners, because I mean sometimes you can do that with the comic art where you're like, this panel isn't important, so there may not be as much detail in the panel. He doesn't do that so much, and when he does, it's still, you know who this is, it's still really, really nice, and his panel layout's very nice as well.
Yes.
And then
easy to follow.
Yes. So then we go back to I'm assuming they're still at the Institute though, but you have all the X-Men that are currently ish.
Yeah. All the ones you can fit on a panel.
Yes, are all here. Kitty Pryde is leading them up and just kind of talking about what they need to do, because Cable took Bobby. Took Bobby.
Yes,
took Bobby.
The original time-displaced Iceman.
Yes.
Because our Iceman and our timeline is still here. Obviously, he's in the panel.
Yes, and I guess he is very important for them being able to go back.
Yeah, the concept is, the way that Beast said, is that they created a paradox at some point, and so now that they don't have to send them back, but if they do have to go back, then they all have to go back. Like, it can't just be one or two go back, and they have to all go back, or nobody goes back.
Okay. So kind of like through here.
That's kind of what, that's kind of where they established the Iceman of this world talks about, hey, I haven't disappeared, so he's still alive. Because obviously, if he was dead, then I would be dead.
Yes.
And that's where the kind of paradoxes come into play.
Yes.
And then Shatterstar came in, and he comes in, and that's who this is, Shatterstar. He was an X-Force.
Okay.
Original X-Force was with Cable, so that's why he's kind of upset about it.
And I think they're bringing him back in his own book. I think I saw something about this. His name feels familiar to me, and I think I read something in the news that he's getting his own. I could be wrong, don't quote me, but I think.
He is also currently in, as a side character in the New Mutants Dead Souls book, which is in my pull list. We will get to later, but he's kind of an odd character. Like, when he started off, he had like this, it was very Rob Liefeld-esque. Well, I mean, like, Rob Liefeld did it, so he had like this big giant, like, weird, like, headdress thing. It looked like a boxing thing, so it was like this big puffy thing around his face, and he had these weird shoulder pads, and he like, it was just really awkward.
Kind of makes me think of Sabretooth a little bit.
You have to Google it. Like, you have to Google his original costume. It's really atrocious. I mean, back in the day, it was the pimp. But, like, if you look at it now, it does not hold up well. So yeah.
Long story short, Kitty Pryde is basically saying that we need to split off into groups and each take one of the originals to keep them safe, basically. And Cyclops is not handling this well. I also want to point out, her outfit here kind of bugged me a little bit. I didn't like the underwear.
I'm loving the hip thing.
I
think it's so cute. And her haircut is adorable.
I love her haircut.
Like, she just looks. I'm irritated that they cannot find an original costume for Shadowcat. Like, she's been in this, like.
Is this character?
No, Shadowcat is like she's had like 17 names.
Oh, so
Kitty Pryde though was especially in Excalibur, she had this blue kind of flowy arms that were like kind of puffy, and then she had like this little leotard on. it has been a source of contention for many, many years is costuming.
Uh-huh.
Well, they've settled into this but it looks just like a training uniform that they've always had, and so
Right,
I've
you've
always
seen
been
this a lot.
irritated that I'm like, why can't you go past a training uniform? And they had this big huge deal when they started X-Men Gold about Rachel Summers, about her having a new costume and a new name and everything like that. And I'm like, why can't you get Kitty Pryde?
Kitty Pryde.
Can't find a costume that is not like a training outfit. It's
Overall, I liked it. I think there was just something about it. It looked too much like she's wearing her underwear.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
It threw me. That was the only reason that I really even bring it up, is because I was kind of like, it took me out a little bit. I was like, what are you wearing? Like, I like the little X medallion and all that, but
it does look like underwear. Like, I feel like if they fed it into maybe the lines on the torso instead of being like separated, if they kind of fed it in.
Because honestly, everything else I love. Like, I love the collar. I love just like the sleekness. But anyway, Cyclops leaves all angry because he does not want to split up.
And he doesn't want to be out of the fight.
No, he doesn't want to be out of the fight.
Sidelines.
Yeah, he's like, Bloodstorm just died. How can you pull me out of the fight? That type of thing. Hank is Beast. Yes, but in human.
So originally, the original X-Men, Hank was never a beast. He was originally looked human. He just had really, really large feet and really, really large hands. He's a large guy, just like they make him now.
Okay.
But he experimented on himself one too many times and turned him into the Blue Beast. Okay. And so then eventually, later on down the road, a couple years ago, they changed him again. They made him more like an ape-looking thing, ape cat creature kind of thing. Because it was a set, they were really big on these secondary mutations that ended up going nowhere. They did all these secondary mutations, but I think it was just an excuse to kind of like power them up, like
okay.
They get their Megazord, and then so it was just their way of kind of powering them up and making
like an obvious power up without having tools
and making the characters like a little bit more cool. It was kind of rebooting the character a little bit.
It made him different.
Yeah,
it made him stand out.
Yeah, he went through this whole thing where he kind of went this genetic manipulation, and so he became that ape kind of creature that he is now, but he was blue before.
Okay.
So
young Hank
was not been experimented on.
Right.
But here you go. Here goes the oogle. So we have somebody that in his book he has changed and become a magic user. So he's using magic, so he becomes a demon. So he's kind of trapped in this demon form if he uses magic.
Who?
Beast.
Oh.
Hank.
Okay.
So he wanted to power himself up. Again, it was like another power up. There's somebody coming. I don't know if you.
Her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he had this power up where in his own original book, and he wanted to be not like a bad guy. He wanted to be, or not a bad guy, but he wanted to be a more powerful or useful character. So he started learning magic. And then he jacked it up, and Dr. Strange tried to help him and all this stuff. And so it's like magic is just science we don't understand. And I know, it's like, oh man,
that sounds exhausting.
So in this current Hank, the original Hank, he is a magic user also. But if he uses magic, he turns into this white demon, which it's really kind of interesting. But he turns into this white demon creature.
Oh.
So this is X-Men Blue. This is number 34, and it's. Again, another timeline.
And this is ending, right?
I think they're all ending. I think all the X-Men are ending.
I believe Red is staying, but Blue and Gold are going.
But I think they're going to end because of this.
Oh, okay.
And because Blue is mostly the original X-Men.
Okay.
So if they're not going to do, whatever they're going to do with them is going to be done.
Okay.
So I'm not for sure if they're going to end, if they're ending Blue because it's going to bleed into something else, or if they're going to do, because I think they're bringing back. From what I understand, they're bringing back Uncanny.
Okay.
So we'll see.
So is Astonishing going to stay around, do you think? Because we're also reading that one.
It's still going on. I know there's ones coming out, but I try to stay away from cancellations and stuff like that. I just kind of try to go with the flow because otherwise I just get upset.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. I want all the news.
I don't want the news because I get angry.
Yeah. Go
to the comic book shop and they always tell me stuff and I just leave upset. So I try to avoid it at all costs.
And then you met me.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure how to answer that.
Okay, I'll find out. So Hank gets shot by Cable. Jean starts talking to Angel 2. What?
Angel gets shot by.
Oh yes, Angel 2.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is either. And yeah, I see you, but I don't. Oh, he's the one with the wings.
Yes.
He has wings.
Wings guy.
He's got wings.
I'm gonna. Hopefully, maybe we'll like bleed off of each other, and eventually I'll be able to remember all their names, and she'll know nobody, and so I'll
Exactly. It'll be fine.
Wing guy.
It'll be fine someday.
Yeah.
Or it won't, and it'll still be fine.
We will still be able
Yes.
to communicate.
So Jean is telepathically talking with Scott, and they find Cable. He whooshes him and takes him out. And so...
And then you have this lovely, beautiful panel of Jean getting ready to jack him up.
she looks like she's pissed.
She's gonna punch somebody in the hoo-ha.
I was gonna say hoo-ha. In the
They're
hoo-ha.
gonna punch him in the hoo-ha and send him into some other time.
And so then the other X-Men come... Okay, the young ones are the original ones, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so then the new group,
The older group.
Older
current,
group.
This is current timeline.
current timeline,
Mhm.
are coming.
To help. And then, Beast is knocked out.
Right.
Our Beast, our AC, he looks
Yeah.
like an ape cat.
Yes.
So he turns in and he kind of helps the other Beast, and it's kind of like some exposition. I feel like it's just trying to get somewhere. They're just kind of building something up, like, hey, like, why don't I want you to die, but you need to go back, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then it ends
Mm-hmm.
with some gruesomeness, which I
Yes.
was like, oh my god.
I'm like, is he cutting his wings?
So originally, Angel has angel wings, like he had
Uh-huh.
feather wings,
Yes.
and then he became in the original timeline, he got them cut off by Apocalypse, and he replaced them with the metal wings, where
Okay.
he became Archangel because he became the Angel of Death.
Yes, okay.
So and then when
It's
they
all
brought
somewhat familiar.
right, so then when they brought the new or the old, like the original ones, and they brought them into the timeline, there was another series where he got them cut off and they got them replaced with like these cosmic fiery wings. So now I think this, I'm speculating again, I think he's trying to cut off his wings so that he can put on regular wings, or at least send him back to his timeline the way that he was.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like if he doesn't return them the way that they're supposed to be, then he feels like they're not going to be able to fix the timeline.
Because we
'Cause
don't
I
know
think-
why young Cable's
Right.
doing any of this.
Speculation.
Yeah, we
Speculating.
have no clue.
I'm assuming that he is trying to, because at the end of the first book, they were he had Bobby and he's stuck in this like cryo chamber.
Mhm.
So I think he's just trying to capture them all and then send them back. Is what I'm thinking he's trying to do,
Okay.
because for some reason they're trying to avoid this.
Because we don't know if maybe they are affecting something in the future that we are in the
Right.
past.
So we're they haven't quite explained that yet.
Time
for
travel.
sure, but I'm thinking that's why I feel like this is the book they're trying to do. They're trying to clean house.
Like
they're trying to
Band-Aid
clean
it all
everything up. Yeah, they're trying to like take the Band-Aid out, clean the wound, and hopefully get
Mhm.
healed. Maybe stitch it up.
They actually clean it properly
Yeah.
this time.
Some hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
Some
Bubbly.
Neosporin. Yeah.
And so that happened. You see that with young Cable, and he's very like, you brought this on yourself.
Yeah, he just doesn't even care.
He does
Like,
not
he's just, like,
care.
so nonchalant about it. Like, and I really didn't read a lot of his books when he had his series.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, he's definitely a lot darker.
Yeah, he's sitting here drinking his coffee. You brought this on yourself.
While you're hacking something.
Damn, yo.
Back up. Like,
And so then we go back to the Institute, and Ahab, with all his little hounds, is attacking. And there's Old Man Logan
mm-hmm.
is there.
Oh god, that's another confusing thing. Wolverine. Oh god,
There's like 50 of them.
convoluted. I know. It's like, yeah, and he's in like 40 books.
Yeah.
Old
And
Man
then-
Logan is from another timeline where he apparently had to kill all of his X-Men. He had to kill all his X-Men because they all went like nuts, and so he has this like darkness that he holds into him.
Oh my god.
So yeah.
There's so much.
But come to find out the time travel that he ends up being a hound.
Yes.
Dun, dun,
Yes.
dun.
So the book ends with
him turning into a
Holy shit.
hound, getting ready to turn down everybody.
yeah.
Which
This is a really, really convoluted story for me, simply because I don't really know history. But as you can see, I'm still fine, and it's fine. And can
And-
we talk about this cover,
see. You got the cool one. I got the different one.
which is Hank, right?
Yeah, which is Hank.
But I mean, gorgeous art.
In non-beast or non-demon form.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know who you are. But the art
I don't even know
on the first cover and
Yes.
on this cover is just, I mean, like this costume right here with like the studs and the
Yes, and that was her original
Yes.
costume when they found her,
I-
because she is obviously time displaced too.
yes.
I think it's
And-
Frank D'Amato.
And I guess
Or
her
Frank Joe.
hound lines have come back,
Right.
and so she's known that something was coming but didn't say anything, and so there's a lot that's there's a lot that's packed into each of these characters. They, like you're saying, they're definitely trying to clean it all up. So there's a lot happening in all of these issues, I feel like.
I feel like, yeah, like I said, I feel like they're trying to clean everything up and get ready for the future.
But the story like still reads well. Like
you're
sucked in. You're wanting to know what's going on. Like it paces really well.
Yes,
I'm enjoying it. So this is issue 2.
And even with the cast of characters, I still feel like they do really well with focusing on who they need to focus on. I mean, there's one panel where it has like so many where they're all standing in the institute, but they still don't use everybody at that point in time. I think they're using them as they need them.
Yeah.
So.
And this is a part 2 of 5.
Yeah.
It does say that
there
right there, Jenny. Right there.
So
this is
a
good.
miniseries. If you get a
good.
chance, if you're an X-Men fan, you definitely want to pick this up. It definitely reads well. If you're not an X-Men fan, it may be something that is interesting, but you may not quite have the weight that a fan would have, or somebody that has the book series on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a jumping on point though.
Yeah, it would be a little rough.
Yeah.
I mean, I am jumping. I mean, I have, like I mentioned earlier, I have a little bit of history, but not a ton. I am reading Astonishing X-Men and X-Men Red, which I'm enjoying. But this would be, like, I'm invested, so, and I have help, so it's I'm having an easier time, I think, but from just a casual reading standpoint, it's very convoluted.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say new reader friendly. But it is still, if you're familiar with X-Men or if you're into the Marvel world anyways, it's just a really good book.
It is well done.
I
am enjoying it.
So what else did you have on your pull list?
I didn't bring the others that I have on my pull list. I got Star Wars Adventures, and I have the Silencer Annual that I will read once Zane finishes it.
Oh.
That's technically his book.
I definitely finished it.
Did you?
So I'm just going to go through my pull list really quick. I'm not going to go into them too much, but New Mutants, really good art. Let me rephrase that. Art works for the book. I wouldn't say it's the best art, but it's interesting. And the dialogue though is so fun.
See that
it's really sassy. Like it's just kind of
sassy dialogue.
Yeah, and it's kind of, this one was a little bit darker than the other ones, but still they kind of like Boom Boom is hysterical. She is just like she's a valley girl, and she just has like no reason. Like there's at one point where she's like laying in bed and she's like, why didn't you do the, like, why is the report saying that? And she's like, there's reports? Why are you saying this early in the morning? And she's like, it's noon. And she's like, it's too early. So it's really cute. Like, there's really quippy stuff, but it's kind of darkish. It's got some little, but I really enjoyed this one. I was surprised.
I haven't checked this one out.
I didn't think I would enjoy it. Once I read the first issue, I was really like, oh, okay. I see what you did there. Kind of got me.
But
so
it's
that one kind of
it's progressing then. Okay.
And then I did read the Silencer Annual.
Haven't read it yet. I'm excited. Is it?
I mean, it's not bad. It's just it's a one shot. It's like kind of like it's really doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, and it's okay. Nothing exciting. I mean, it's just another.
I'll get to it.
I do love the Silencer though. Like I've enjoyed her.
I am of all the new series. It's the one that I decided to read, and I'm enjoying it.
Yes, and I feel like she fits into the world really well because she's kind of a shadowy character anyway. So she really wouldn't have been known earlier. So I feel like it's not like they were trying to bring somebody in that isn't always in there.
Or having to rewrite a bunch of things.
Right. She just fits right in the world, and there's no questions. It's just like she is what she is, and that's what it is. But it's a good read. It's a fun read. Okay. Art's okay. Nothing special. I don't feel like it forwards the character really crazy or anything like that. Or it's just a book. It's not bad.
Reading it.
No, if you read The Silencer, it's still a good read. If you don't read The Silencer, probably not so much. Probably won't get that much out of it. And then X-Men Blue.
Okay.
Again, this is the one that this X-Men Blue was the book that had the original X-Men.
Okay.
And then it kind of went a little bit off the rails, and they got a new team, and then it kind of turned into a Magneto book.
Okay.
And for a little bit, and so this is kind of like a continuation.
I like his costume.
Yeah, it's okay. Again, the art is I really like the artist. So if you're really into the comic book art, the art is really talented. Marcus 2. And the story's good. It's okay. I mean, and if you're following the series, it's actually not a bad continuation from the series. It actually explains a couple things from the series that have been like little nuggets that have been laid on. But nothing too crazy.
Nothing crazy.
No, it wouldn't be a good jumping on point. You definitely would just be like, I don't know what's going on. Like really confusing. But if you follow the series, obviously it would be really good.
Okay. Well, there you have it. There's our books for this past week.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. What is
If
it?
there's
Like,
something-
comment, and subscribe? What is
Yeah,
that?
If there's something that you think that would be really enjoyable to read, let us know. We also do a comic book club where we take one book once a month, and there's a couple of us in there that we pick. And so hopefully if this is a thing that we're going to do every week, that maybe at the end of the month that we'll try to go over the comic book that we did for the week.
Yes.
And this currently one that we're reading Lock and Key.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Which I
gosh.
just started volume 5. So good. So good. But we'll talk about it at some point
we
later.
have to
But,
make ourselves stop.
Yeah. So if you
Let us
get
know
your
if you read
second
these books.
Yeah.
Let us know what you thought of them, and we will
I
see.
always love opinions,
Oh,
as long as
please.
they're nice.
Yeah, please
Don't
be nice.
Yeah, even if you don't agree with us, that's okay.
It's
You can
okay.
still say you don't agree with us, but don't be mean.
You can say it.
Spread the
Just don't be
unicorn
an
magic around the world.
asshole.
So until next week, read on, enjoy.
Bye. You know what I thought halfway through? I hope my phone didn't die.